Well, good morning, guys. It is the March 14th morning, and we are tracking a line of severe thunderstorms as expected through the portions of the region here. We saw Illinois this morning. Now we are getting into Indiana, and we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of an overview synopsis of this. We are looking at a severe threat today that may materialize a bit more so later on in the afternoon as well. So this is just only one round of storms we're expecting. But right now we do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for portions of west central Indiana. In particular, it's going to be Fountain, Park, Warren, and Vermilion counties. And that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. It's going to be this storm right here heading towards the Lafayette, Crawfordsville, and Greencastle area. Indianapolis also here in the strike zone of this storm. Tipton, Anderson as well. Also down here near Terre Haute, we do have a secondary warning for severe weather. This is going to be for observed 1.25-inch hail, so bigger than quarter, about a $half size hail, really. And then also for our wind gusts as well, up to 60 miles per hour. This line is pushing east at around 45 to 55 miles per hour as it races across northern Indiana. We do also have a secondary threat later on this afternoon across much of the same area, conditional, of course, on how instability reacts after this system moves through. But overall, that is the current threat. We do have more storms up here in northern Indiana that are currently not warned. They were warned just a bit ago, but they are not currently warned for severe hail and wind. But those may become warned as they continue off to the east towards Fort Wayne, Huntington, Kokomo, Anderson, those areas. Definitely keep an eye on this line for sure as it continues to strengthen as it pushes off to the east. All right, so secondary threat develops later on tonight. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to switch screens. Bear with me here. Here we go. Your SPC outlook is the following. We do have a slight risk now extending all the way basically through the entire state of Indiana, just leaving out the very northern portion. West central Ohio also getting in on that slight risk, and then also most of Illinois on that slight risk as well. A marginal risk extends up into southern Michigan, eastern Ohio, southeastern Ohio as well as northwest and northern extreme Indiana. What is that for? All hazards. Number one concern, though, is tornadoes. That is going to be interesting to see how these storms play out. I do see a good tornado threat developing down there in that 5%, the red area down here. So Lafayette, Indianapolis, Dayton, Bloomington, Mount Vernon, Champaign, Springfield, St. Louis, Marion, Evansville, you guys are all in the highest risk today for tornadoes, but the green risk there is definitely something to pay attention to as well. I do think that risk does extend a little further north as well in parts of southern Michigan. I think all of Ohio, Indiana, and parts of northern Illinois will also get in on that action as well. Now, in terms of wind and hail, your hail and wind are as follows. The 15% wind risk is going to drive that slight risk. That's going to be for the exact same areas across most of Indiana, south central Illinois, west central Ohio. The 5% risk does extend all the way up into Michigan and eastern Ohio as well. Then also your hail risk is going to be the biggest risk today. That's going to be for larger than 2-inch hail in those black hatch, we call it hatched areas. That is for anywhere from Indianapolis, Lafayette, St. Louis, Springfield, Champaign, those areas. And then that yellow risk surrounding that black yellow risk is going to be a 15% just for severe hail. And then that reddish all the way up into South Michigan, East Ohio is going to be for just a 5% risk for hail. Those are your threats, so all hazards possible today. Now, in terms of what the radar could look like later on today, we are looking at a couple of different scenarios. The first one being the warm front advances further north. It's going to be the boundary play, basically. These supercells right here on radar are the most concerning that we're kind of watching. Again, this is for later on today. This is at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We see an abundance of isolated cells that do look to have rotational tracks on them. So this entire area from central Indiana back through Illinois, maybe in parts of western Ohio, does appear to have a higher tornado threat, and also with those storms, a larger hail threat. That is the main concern. Now, there's also some concern, given the wind shear today, that we may be seeing a couple, not going to say violent, but a couple stronger EF2 type of tornadoes definitely on the table today because we do have a lot of wind shear in place. Although I'd definitely be more concerned for the brief, 5-minute lasting, weaker tornadoes. But there's wind shear there to get these storms to rotate. That is concerning. They're also on the boundary and warm front, which is also going to aid in that rotation and lift with these storms. So overall, a very concerning day across portions of central Indiana, all the way back through south central Illinois, and even parts of western Ohio as well. Now, the surrounding areas do need to be on alert later on in the evening for just some isolated storms that do pop up. Up here in particular in Michigan, we do have a line that forms, or that is shown to form right around that 6 to 7 p.m. time frame. Those could contain large hail, could contain damaging winds, but also a low chance of a brief weak tornado up there as well. But the higher threat definitely is off here to the south where you see all these storms that are currently across the region. Now, that is your overall synoptics pattern today. Again, time frame for this is going to be after 3 to 4 p.m. depending on your local time. And then as of right now, we are tracking that threat through the state of Indiana, which is currently a couple of severe warnings that are currently in effect for those areas. Again, for portions of east central Indiana, it's going to be for Fountain Park, Warren, and Vermilion counties until 11 a.m. Eastern. And that's going to be just for hail and wind. And also down here near Terre Haute, we are seeing another one for Vigo County, as well as Sullivan counties in that severe threat. That's going to be for observed 1.25 inch hail and also wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So if you're ahead of this line, Indianapolis, Bloomington, Anderson, all the way up here to Fort Wayne, Huntington, Montpelier, Warren, Marion, Portland, Dunkirk, Somerville, Alexandria, Muncie, Bluffton, Tipton, Noblesville, you guys are all in this path of this, go ahead and call it a squall line, QLCS squall line. So it's going to be pushing into the state here pretty rapidly over the next couple hours. And after that line, we'll have to be watching the environment behind it. But overall, that is your synoptic pattern. We'll go ahead and stay on here just for a little bit. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. But otherwise, we do have chasers planning to go out today. Not really sure where they're targeting just yet. A lot of mesoscale factors here at play, which are going to determine where these guys are going to be heading. So we do have chasers who are going out today. We hope to go live later on this evening if we can. And if we do, you'll be obviously here on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. So with that being said, that's all I got for you guys. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in chat. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and we're going to watch these storms for the day. And again, we could see an extension of a few warnings here. This line does look to be pretty strong in terms of wind as well. We do see some hail threat there as well with these storms. But you can see there's a good gust front up here in northern Indiana, and it does extend further south here, which is why these storms are warned. So overall, definitely seeing some good wind gusts with these storms, but overall, the main concern happens later on this afternoon where a more significant threat is possible. Any questions at all before I hop off here? Look for us to go live a little bit later on this afternoon, probably 3, 4, or 5 p.m., whenever storms fire up. We'll be live probably with chasers on the ground covering this severe threat today throughout the region. If no questions are, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. And again, guys, stay safe. I will see you guys more than likely later this afternoon and evening.